Those of us who survived the war will never forget. But as time passes, our presence is diminishing. As I retrace the extraordinary events of my youth, I must confess that my mind is absorbed by the past. Many of us have tried to lock away the memories, but it's important that we tell our stories. I want to put on record the fateful events that enabled me and others whom I know to endure. To do so, I present to you this survival kit. I am Zuzana Sermer, born 29 of August 1924. I was born in Humene, which is eastern part in Slovakia. Very pleasant place to live. We knew about Hitler, of course, in 1933. And so we started, as young people, we started to be nervous.
Zuzana had reason to be anxious. When the Nazis took over Czechoslovakia, Slovakia became a collaborationist regime, and Jews were targeted for camps in Germany and Poland. On the first day of deportation, she and other young women were ordered to report to the police. That frightening day is described in her book.
The spring of 1942 heralded the most difficult time for Jews in our town.
Humene and its surrounding towns were among the first places in Slovakia to begin deportations to the death camps. And the Slovak collaborators there became infamous for taking a leading role. The Nazis scheduled the first deportation for March 25th with transports of single women. We wanted to believe the rumors that we would be brought to work in a shoe factory just 2 hours from Humene. I knew that I must not go with the women's transport. As an only child, I was certain that my parents wouldn't survive my deportation. When all the single women 16 years and older were summoned to the police headquarters, I reported along with them. However, unlike the others, I packed nothing. I was prepared to do whatever was necessary to stay home with my mother. In the vast courtyard of the police building, approximately 350 women were assembled. I spent the whole day begging, crying, and explaining my family's situation. I appealed to their hearts and consciences, asking for compassion, talking about human and Christian values, on and on from early morning until dusk. There was another woman there in a similar situation, also begging for pity. At the end of the day, the police figured out the total. The quotas had been filled. We were merely numbers to them, but to us, each number represented a human life. Since we were not needed, they let me and the other woman go home. The other young women were deported that very night. This first transport of single women from Slovakia went straight to Auschwitz. It is hard to describe the deep relief with which my parents greeted me that evening when I was released. I wonder if I was spared that time because my case was so very different from everyone else's, or if it was simply a miracle. With each deportation, for those of us not taken, it felt as though a part of our souls perished along with the friends and families that were.
This is a miracle. I was 20. Can a 20 years old not be lucky to live? I went through very bad things, but not the worst, because the worst is to be flew out the chimneys of Auschwitz.
Zuzana's mother died of heart failure, and her father was killed while fighting for the Slovak nationalists. She met her husband, Arthur, and after the war, they lived in Bratislava until 1968. When their country was once again occupied, this time by the Soviets, they chose to flee to Canada and start life anew.
Of course, we are very happy we survived the war. My father was killed, my many uncles and relatives, children, nobody else. We knew physically we survived, and that's it.